Hola clase. Este video se llama verbos con cambios de significado en pretérito e imperfecto. Verbs with changes in significance or changes in meaning in the preterite and in the imperfect. So we're going to look at several verbs today that change what they mean depending on if you conjugate them in the preterite or the imperfect. So we're going to make a chart, and our chart needs to have 3 columns. First column is going to just be for the verb, verbo. Second column is going to be for the imperfect. Let's do imperfect in green, please. And the third column is going to be for preterite. Let's do preterite in red, please. So add those colors to your notes as well. And we're going to look at a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 verbos. A couple of them are repeats, but we're going to look at them affirmative and negative. First verb is conocer. Conocer in the imperfect, make sure you're doing imperfect in green, is conocía, conocías, conocía, conocíamos, conocían. And this is like saying somebody knew or was acquainted with. However, conocer in the preterite is conjugated as conocí, conociste, conoció, conocimos, conocisteis, conocieron. And this is translated as met. Like he met the coach yesterday. Conoció al entrenador ayer. Met a person. Our next verb is poder. To be able to. And in the imperfect, the conjugations are podía, podías, podía, podíamos, podíais, podían. And this translates to was or were allowed to do something. Ellos podían visitar el campamento. They were allowed to visit the camp. In the preterite, the forms are pude, pudiste, pudo, pudimos, pudisteis, pudieron. And this translates to managed to. Como ellos finalmente pudieron visitar el campamento. They finally managed to be able to visit the campsite. There's a little more effort involved. Third verb is el verbo no poder. So really same verb, but with a no in front, to not be able to. So no poder in the imperfect, same forms. Podía, podías, podía, podíamos, podían. No poder means kind of like we're having trouble. So like no podíamos encontrarlo. We were having trouble finding it. But in the preterite, again, these are the same forms. No pude, no pudiste, no pudo, etc. If I say like no pudimos, that's like saying we couldn't or we never did. It's kind of implying some failure. No pudimos encontrarlo. We couldn't find it. Like we never managed to. We never did. Okay, next verb is a verb querer, to want. And in the imperfect, we're still writing in green. The conjugations are quería, querías, quería, queríamos, queríais, querían. And this translates to wanted, to. Like todos querían nadar. Everybody wanted to swim. Or it even could be like felt like. Everybody felt like swimming. Todos querían nadar. In the preterite, the forms are quise, quisiste, quiso, quisimos, quisisteis, quisieron. And in the preterite, querer translates more like wanted to, but more like they tried to. or they set out to. So that one's a pretty subtle difference, but everybody wanted to swim. Todos quisieron nadar. Everyone tried to swim. Everybody set out to swim. So it's a little bit stronger than the imperfect. Next verb is the same verb, but with a no querer. So our conjugations will be the same, of course. No quería, no querías, etc. If I say ellos no querían, it's like saying they didn't want to or they didn't feel like. So remember, we use imperfect for when we're talking about emotion. So they didn't feel like doing it. Ellos no querían entrenarse. They didn't want to train. They didn't feel like training. Versus the preterite, again, these will be the same conjugations, but with a no. This is like saying they wouldn't. Almost like they refused to. So like they didn't want to, and so they wouldn't do it. So they refused to do it. Ellos no quisieron entrenar. The players would not train, or the players refused to train. Next verb is saber, to know. Conjugations of saber and the imperfect are sabía, sabía, sabíamos, sabíais, sabían. And this translates to knew, or like saying that somebody was or they were aware of some fact, like yo ya sabía eso, I already knew that, I was already aware of that. And then the conjugations of saber and the preterite are supe, supiste, supo, supimos, supistes, supieron. And this translates more to like I knew, like I found it out. So using the preterite shows like a more completed action, more like a chop, like a one time. Yo supe eso ayer. Like I found that out yesterday. So like I knew it yesterday because I just found it out yesterday. And then our last verb that changes meaning, imperfect versus preterite, is tener. And our conjugation of tener in the imperfect, tenía, tenías, tenía, teníamos, teníais, tenían. And this translates just to had, like yo tenía una idea, I had an idea. Conjugations of tener in the preterite are tuve, tuviste, tuvo, tuvimos, tuvistes, tuvieron. And this translates more like got. So if I say like, hoy tuve una buena idea. Today I got a good idea. It shows like more completed, more chop. Remember our hand motions with the sprinkle or the chop for imperfect versus preterite. I think I taught you that last year. Okay, so those are the verbs that change in meaning between one and the other. And now down below, I'm just going to put a couple of practice questions. Practica. All right, número uno, I want you to write in español. He knew the trainer well. He knew the trainer well. So use your chart. You should have el conocía bien al entrenador. Número dos, I want you to write the students refused to go. The students refused to go, like they would not go. You should have los estudiantes no quisieron ir. Número tres, I want you to say, I found out yesterday. I found out yesterday. You should have yo supe ayer. And then the last one I want you to write down is, we were having trouble finding him. We were having trouble finding him. You should have written down, no podíamos encontrarlo. Okay, we'll practice this more in class mañana. Hasta luego.